Gentlemen, welcome. You're about to learn how to get the best shave of your life. No redness, no irritation, no ingrown hairs, none of that. And I can guarantee you that you're gonna learn things here today that you will not hear anywhere else. And that's because I am a chemist who's specifically focused on men's care. So you're gonna learn a little bit about pre-shave, some myths, the tools of the trade, what's real versus what's just marketing hype. And then we're gonna get into the 4 steps that are gonna help you look as handsome as possible. Let's get to it. So let's start with a big secret that you've never heard of, and that's using a retinoid product is actually going to help you get a better shave and prevent ingrown hairs. In general, retinoid is the best anti-aging product that you can use outside of course, sunscreen, which is for prevention. But it's going to accelerate the turnover rate of your skin cells. And so what that means is that you're going to have less clogged pores, less blackheads, less ingrown hairs. And this means an overall better shave. You're less likely to get any of that afterwards. And in general, the more well-kept that your skin is, the less susceptible you are to things like irritation and problems with shaving. All right, so let's start with the tools of the trade. So 2 things that you don't need first off is a hot towel. So they may feel good, you get it at the barber shop, and it's said that they open up pores, but the thing about pores is they don't actually have muscles, so they can't open and close like doors, and the hot towel isn't gonna do anything for that. Now, similarly, you may have heard about a badger brush, little brush that people will kind of rub in shaving cream and put on their face. It's meant to help the hair stand up. Again, that is also one that doesn't make a difference whatsoever. It can be nice if you like that kind of shaving ritual. It does feel kind of cool, but it really doesn't move the needle in terms of getting a better shave. All right, so let's get into the tools of the trade. The first thing that you're gonna want is a good gliding product. So this is gonna prevent the blade from catching on your skin. It's gonna reduce friction so that there's less irritation, less cuts, nicks, any of that bad stuff. So this is gonna be shaving cream, a shaving gel, it could be a hair oil, or it could even be a conditioner if you're in a pinch and you need something that's gonna work. It works just fine. As for what's the best one, there is no best one. There's no study that is gonna decide that a gel versus a cream or any of that is better. It's just to prevent friction on the skin. And when you're purchasing one of these, it is a little bit of a matter of preference of what you like and what you prefer. I personally think that using a transparent shave gel like that from King C Gilette is excellent because you could see everything as you're shaving and it makes things a whole lot easier. Additionally though, everything else works. I ran out of that and had this on hand, so I've been using this lately. Just something that you get from your drugstore. When it comes to the ingredients on these, you don't have to buy into any of the marketing that's on them because this is being washed off immediately after, and what's really gonna take care of the skin is the aftercare component of this. You don't really need to worry about what ingredients are in these products as far as what's gonna be beneficial. All right, let's get into what's the best razor for you to use. So the best razor for you to use is dependent on you and your skin actually. So a lot of it is preference. So let's say that you are more prone to irritation, ingrown hairs, and you have sensitive skin. Rather than opting for that like 50 blade new razor that just came out, look for something that is a single blade or a dual blade or something with guards on the side is gonna help prevent any irritation or redness or any issues that might happen. What's happening with these multi-blades is each subsequent blade is then following up after the skin has been pushed down to attempt to get as deep as possible. But the secret is there's a lot of tips and tricks for shaving, but if you look at Exhibit A, this wonderful chart that I've created, the closer the shave, the more likelihood that you have of any of the negatives of shaving, like ingrown hairs, redness, irritation, any of that. So depending on your skin, you choose what's going to work for you. Some people think that the blade doesn't matter. I personally think it does. I use the Gillette Fusion Proglide, it's called. I like it because it's got this ball that swivels, which makes it easier to move from area to area. It has 5 blades, which cuts very nicely. And then at the top right here, it's got a razor, which is really good for getting some of those hard to reach areas like under your nose. And I also like it for cleaning up between the eyebrow and the hairline. I'd actually recommend that you do that when you shave, get some of the cheeks, get all these little baby hairs that are all on your forehead, because that makes your complexion overall look a lot more clear and a lot more bright. And so you're more likely to be more well received by the world, because when your complexion is clear, you look more healthy, more trustworthy, all of that. And I have tried other blades. This is the Dollar Shave Club one. So this is a 4-blade razor. It works fine. It gets the job done. I just find that when I use this, I get a little bit more irritation than I do with the Gillette blade. And also it just takes more time to finish the job. It's not as precise. I have to go over and fix things more often than not. So overall, I think that there's, you know, a 10 to 20% difference in the outcome based on the blade that you're using. But a lot of it falls into the comfort and how long it takes you to get the job done. The next thing that we're gonna want is a cleanser or exfoliant. This is for preparing our skin before we actually do the shave and also for washing the product off at the end. A exfoliant could be in a physical form or a chemical form. The reason that these are good is because it'll clear off some of the dead skin cells, and so it makes it so you have a nice, smoother, better overall shave. As for using a chemical exfoliant, this would be something like salicylic acid. You can get it on like Stridex Pads, or I would recommend the CeraVe SA Cleanser. And the reason that you'll want to use this is similar to how I mentioned that a retinoid product will prevent things like blackheads or ingrown hairs. This will do the exact same thing. You can use it before or after you shave and on the subsequent days after the shave. And this is sure to not only help your skin overall look better in general and more clear, but it's going to help prevent those ingrown hairs. Maybe a lot of you used your dad's product like Aqua Velva or something as a kid and it just burned the hell out of your face. So a lot of aftershave products are poorly made. Not all of them, but I'd say most of them aren't really necessary whatsoever. The ideal aftershave product is going to be something that is soothing the skin, it's calming inflammation, and is helping to restore and protect our skin barrier afterwards, because we just introduced a lot of irritation via shaving. And so that's what we really want to focus on. And a lot of these aftershave products, they don't have the right ingredients in them, where they just kind of feel good, but they're not doing anything, or they have things like menthol and peppermint, which feel great, but they can be irritating for some guys. I'm not going to say everyone, so if you're using it and it's working for you, you don't need to stop. It's not ideal for that sort of a product. What I would recommend is just using a really good moisturizer that contains ingredients that are going to help and support the skin. Things like niacinamide, things like panthenol, things like ceramides that are really going to help reinforce and protect your skin barrier. And it's best to get one that's suited for your skin type. One that I would recommend overall that is good for pretty much all skin types is the Strive Miracle Facial Moisturizer. Full disclosure, this is my brand. I made it from scratch. Everything has been meticulously chosen as far as ingredients, so I guarantee if you use it, you're gonna love it, and it does have a guarantee on it, so go ahead and try it. There's nothing to lose. All right, so let's get into the 4 steps for your best shave. So before any of that, please drop a like, a comment, and a subscribe. One of my favorite things to do is to help answer your questions and to help get your routine in order and help you look your absolute best. So absolutely do that. Before you shave though, depending on how coarse your hair is, the density of your hair follicles and the length of it, you might want to consider trimming before shaving. For me personally, based on my hair, I find that once I'm at about 5 days since the last time I've shaved, maybe 7, I like to run over with a trimmer really quickly just so it makes the shave a lot smoother and a lot more enjoyable with less issues and less hair getting caught up in the blade. This is a Philips Norelco razor. I used to use a wall one that worked just fine. I'm sure that the Manscaped one works just fine. And I guess a side note, there's a thing called the Philips OneBlade, and I borrowed it from my dad one time. And it is remarkably close to a shave in terms of the closeness. So if you do have issues with shaving and irritation, I would definitely recommend trying that. But as for the actual steps, step 1, we're gonna wanna prepare the skin. So we'll wet our skin and we'll wet our hair. And what that's gonna do is soften up the hair a little bit and make it easier to cut through, as well as reduce some friction from shaving. Additionally, you'll wanna wash your face to prepare the skin to wash away any grime, any dead skin cells, any of that. And again, good idea, especially if you get ingrown hairs, is to use a salicylic acid cleanser like the one from CeraVe, or a salicylic acid product that's gentle. And if you're using a physical exfoliant product, be sure to be gentle with it. A lot of guys have a habit of just scrubbing the hell out of their face and they just get all this redness and irritation before they even begin shaving, so don't be that guy. So step 2 is gonna be to apply your gliding product of choice. So if you're prone to irritation or you have unruly hair and it's difficult, one thing that I would recommend is applying a hair oil before you actually apply the gliding product, because that will coat the hair and it's gonna make it softer, which makes it easier to cut through, which means less likelihood of nicks, cuts, scrapes, any of that stuff. Step 3, the actual shaving portion. Do you go against the grain? Do you go with the grain? How many strokes do you do? It really, again, depends on, if you remember this chart, the closeness of the shave is typically proportionate to the risk of irritation potential. And so the more times that you're going over an area, the more blades that you have on your razor, if you're going against the grain, if you're pulling the skin taut. These are all not only gonna give you closer shave, but you will be more likely to have irritation. So you find out what the good balance is for you. What tends to work perfectly for me is I'll start off with a normal shave, you know, clearing everything out here, and then I'll use the top blade to clean up areas that are hard to reach. I typically have a hard time getting this area right here, so I have to go over that multiple times, and I often get irritation on my neck. So what happens when I get to this area is I'll pull it taut so that I can get an extra close shave on this area so I don't get much irritation there, and it helps clear that up. And then for the bottom area, I noticed that when I shave my neck, I get a lot of irritation. I hear this from a lot of guys as well. And so a tip here is that I mentioned going against the grain or going with the grain. What happens a lot of times with the hairs on your neck is they grow in different directions. So some people's, they'll grow even sideways. Mine will grow down and some of these grow outward. And so I notice if I actually follow the hairs in that way, as opposed to going against it, I'm less likely to have irritation and have a much cleaner, closer shave. During the shave, I definitely recommend that you tap your razor in the sink, or if you have a bowl of water, shaking it around in there, because what happens is your hairs get caught on the blade. So instead of the blade making contact with the hairs that you're trying to shave here, it's kind of hair on hair. So it's gonna mean that you're gonna have to go over the area more times, which again, more potential for irritation. And so this just overall makes it a smoother, nicer shave. Step 4, we wanna go ahead and clean everything off. So you can use a face wash or exfoliating cleanser. There's no need to exfoliate again since you already did it earlier. However, on subsequent days of follow-up, you're gonna wanna use the exfoliant because again, it's gonna help clear the pores, it's gonna help your skin look better, and it's gonna help minimize the chances of getting ingrown hairs following the shave. After you're cleaned up, I would recommend, again, Strive Miracle Facial Moisturizer, or just a good moisturizer that you like that's gonna help protect the skin and restore it and soothe any kind of redness, any inflammation, any of that stuff. What I would recommend, what you do with your blade, everyone has an opinion on this, so I'll tell you mine. I think that blades are good for about 7 to 10 shaves if you take good care of it. You can have it last a lot longer. I just find that after that I'm prone to getting more irritation and the blade just doesn't feel like it cuts nearly as well. But what I'd recommend doing with your blade is after you use it, again, tap it out, make sure there's no hair in there. Use something like a towel or a paper towel to dry it out and leave it out to air out a little bit so that it dries, that extends the life of the blade. I've used blades for a very long time before, and again, it works fine. It's just, I find that 7 to 10 uses is kind of the sweet spot for when I notice the blade just isn't as good. Gentlemen, that wraps us up. You are fully equipped to have the best shave of your life and look your absolute best on that interview, first date, whatever the occasion is. You're gonna absolutely nail it. Really appreciate you rocking with me. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. Again, I love helping you out with your routines and helping you look your best. But until next time, adios.